This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so overall, we definitely we had some really good moves. I know I was here until about give or take about 10:30, right in that area, but we had some really good stuff going on. So first thing let's talk about is Kron. Now, CRO, and as we were coming in, oops, wrong spot. CRON, as we started to open up the market, we just saw a huge amount of longer term prints come in at that 13 level, which we know gigantic X prints come in. We're going to have a gigantic pullback that comes into the stock. And not only did it happen there, but then we got them again when we came back over to the 12. So we came at first at 13, then 12. Our price target's got to be about 1150 to 11. We can see it came back down to 11. We did have some selling that came in at that 11 point, but we've also had a bunch of buying. So very mixed level. It's been kind of just like floating back up. Now, unfortunately, I didn't see what happened here at that 12. I'm going to have to assume that there was more buying coming in because we ended up pulling back down and it's coming back towards that 12 level. So based off what we see going on, that's going to come at 12. Will give us a good indication of what we're going to be looking for the rest of the day. If we're going to be able to get back up to that 13, because based off the amount of prints we had at 13 and 12, it certainly looked like the move was going to be a lot longer term. And we can see that. I mean, we're already at 130 in the day and we're still kind of waiting for it to come. But overall, a really nice $2 short that came in. It was not a hard trade at all. Now, TLRY, I know unfortunately some of you guys weren't able to short this, but what an easy trade this thing was. I know I'd put that out there in the high percentage plays because when you look at the orders in TLRY, and we talk about this all the time. All right, when you have that much selling that comes in, the difficulty of trade for that much selling is almost impossible. Right now, if I wanted to trade, and at that time, I think at 172, something like 4,000, and then we had probably about give or take 8,000 that came in at 171. But if I wanted to trade that right now, you could see it's not available anywhere. Right now, I could buy 100 shares at 161, 30, 27. It's just there's really not much going on at all. So when we see something like that, it's almost like a 99% trade that was going to come back in, and you could see it ended up pulling back up above the 172 level, and we just got a beautiful trigger that came down into this thing. I mean, it does not get any easier than that, and it just continued on its way down all the way to almost 150. So we're basically 151. So you're talking about from the prints at 172 down to 151. You're not going to get many better range trades that are easier than what we saw coming into TLRY. So that was by far my favorite. Then we had NBEV that was on our list, and NBEV was basically followed pretty much the pot stocks. All the pot stocks almost did exactly the same thing. Now, Kron did it on almost all buying. So that tells us something about what we're going to be looking for as we go into the future of where we're looking for the price of Kron to be. Now, NBEV, I didn't really get to look at too much. I know we did have a little bit of selling coming down at that 750 level. But we also had some decent buying that's above there. So it was a lot of falling, almost like CGC. CGC was falling and it made a beautiful move to the downside, but it was falling on a lot of kind of just mixed prints. Nothing that was anything that was really that great. So overall, we're definitely going to continue to watch the pot stocks coming into the afternoon. But I mean, Kron is probably looking like one of the better ones. It's still trading 82,000 shares a minute, which is looking pretty good. Right now, CGC is just, once again, the orders are just so thin. It's just not really showing anything. It's kind of stuck in this consolidation. So we're going to need some better show of hands to come into them for us to be able to continue to watch. Now, NIO, I said we can see this thing just keeps printing at 8, but it's a very quanty stock right now. I don't have any interest in it. There's nothing based off the personality of the way that I can see that it's trading right now that tells us that today's going to be the day that it's going to be able to break up above that 8 level. Ears really did not do much. Made a few, nice little move to the upside. I know I personally wasn't even looking at it. There were better stuff for us to be paying attention to. And then FLKS. Just completely, it jumped up a little bit once the market opened, but then just completely sold off. So nothing really there for us to do anything with. Anything with BLNK? Let's take a look. BLNK. So it looks, I mean, whatever happened at about 12:30, it definitely got halted and then it gapped up after that. But I don't see anything interesting. Looks like a whole bunch of selling that came in around the 3 level. Well, you got one print. It's a little bit mixed. Yeah, you can see right here a whole bunch of selling at 3. So pretty much what it's looking like is that it's done. That much selling coming back down. Looks like we're going to be continuing on this pull down from there. Cheap stock, but unfortunately, there's just too much selling there at that 3. Let's take a look at, first of all, we'll go over SQ as well. So SQ is a funny one because it has, we know it has a ton of selling that's in it. And basically what it pulled up from today is the fact that At 75, we got good selling that came into it, and then it just ended up pushing down. And then also at that 74 level. So this morning, we got a whole bunch of selling that really it's kind of just pulling back up from. Now, I did find at 77, I went back a bunch right before we started. I did see a bunch of selling that came in at this 77 level. Earlier, but as you can see right here, coming into 78, I mean, there's two ask prints, so it still looks like we're going to have a little bit more room towards that upside in it before we're going to end up seeing, that real move. But at the end of the day, too, I mean, two prints on the ask, it's, we're basically going to expect about 78.50 in that area, and we're going to need to see more first to tell us that it's really going to be able to do anything else. We know we have the selling down low, so you know what? What's happening right here, as you can see, it kind of filled in that gap from there. So I'm going to be expecting to see some type of selling start to come back in, because we know, like I said, we know we have it down lower. So as of right now, let's take a look at our scanners, but I don't really see anything else out there. It looks like how high are you thinking? I mean, right now that doesn't have the prints to really say anything, anything different. I mean, 78.50 in that area, unless something new comes back in. But I know it has too much selling underneath it. And the pattern that it's showing us, guys, it's showing us a staircase pattern. Okay, because a lot of the times these stocks, they end up having to fill these gaps before they end up making the move. We know, I mean, don't get me wrong, we got our move to the downside, a beautiful move, but we have more selling that's down there, that 64 and that 65 level. So this thing is pulling back up, but when this thing actually falls, we're going to see a big trigger coming in. The volume's pretty, I mean, the volume that it made its move up on today, it's lackluster. I mean, there's nothing, too special within it from what we saw. So it certainly has the selling down here. I mean, it's just a matter of when they're going to be done with getting their shares. So right now, like I said, these prints at 78 don't really show us much. Really, what it shows us is maybe 50 cents towards that upside. So it's not like we're getting a lot of buying that's coming into this thing at all. So let's take a look at our scanners. BLNK, we just went over. GTXI 6.2, but it's just too quanty for me. Nothing really there that I care too much about. ALT, nice move overall, but I mean, the volume's absolute garbage. Nothing that we're gonna be able to do anything with it. SEND 12 million. Not really anything I see here either. I mean, it's not terrible. This one's not terrible because it is actually a pretty smooth trading stock. So I will put this on our list. It's just a matter of, let's see, SEND. It's just going to be a matter of getting some consistent volume and having that volume be able to, to pick up, because we do have that print line that's sitting right here. I don't see any prints. It's going to be rough because the orders are very thin to get any bigger prints. But if we get some bigger prints that give a show of hand, I don't mind this one. It's definitely, it's consistently smooth, so I like that. NCSM, very ugly. Absolutely nothing there for me to be looking at. ACHN, nothing there. We have I, nothing either. Nothing really going on. Nothing really going on there either. Moving over to the loser side of things, let's take a look. I'll go over AMD in a second. I know AMD, I had some really good buying that came in this morning that I posted out there, but I'll take a look in a second. JLED, nothing there. CRMMD, no, looks like a whole bunch of nonsense over on the loser side of things. Nothing that I really care too much about. I mean, it's just not really anything at all. Let's take a look at AMD. So AMD is a beautiful trend coming back up today. I forget what the buying was. Let me see if I can look it up real quick. AMD, yes, where was it? Okay, 26.50 this morning. So it had to be before 10:30 because that's I left. So 26.50, we had some really good buying that came into the stock. I think it was somewhere over here or whatever. Actually, don't tell me the time. That was at 10:06. I wrote that. So right here. So it's some really good buying. It ended up pulling back underneath it. You can see this congestion of print line and then coming back up. I haven't been watching it all day though, so I know it's made a really nice move. Don't get me wrong, but I don't really know what else happened here at 27, what happened at 27.50, what happened really at those controlling prints. We know we have the selling underneath. There's a lot. We know there's a lot of selling underneath, but it's all going to be a matter of what happened on its way up. You can see the volume's not great. So, it's not terrible either, based off of what it's kind of been looking like. But, you'd really like to see the volume a lot higher than this to really show us that move. It looks like it's kind of moving. It's kind of just floating up so far. Basically coming into pretty much right now, we're going to have to see some type of bigger controlling prints. I just don't see anything there that really gives us any good indication. I mean, 27.65, you can see some good buying. But other than that, I'm not really, just overall, it's got a beautiful trend. But it looks like that in a lot of different stocks. So it looks like a lot of these stocks are just kind of following each other, and it's not really based off anything. I mean, look at Apple. Apple did the same exact thing. Yeah, it's exactly, Nitesh. Everything, it's just trending. So like, for instance, we look at SQ. SQ's moving up. That's great, but it's just following everything else, and all the charts basically look exactly the same. So there's no really, when something like that happens, it's just following the mud. Basically, when something like this happens, it tells me there's really low volume in everything, and they're just kind of floating around basically. All right, guys. Anything else out there that I missed? Nothing. All right, guys. So I'll be here for a little bit longer, and then I'll probably be back at 4. I just definitely want to get kick this thing before it gets any worse, and then I have to take even more time away from being in the chat room. Yes, definitely did from Kron. They'll post it up as well. All right, guys. So I'll be kind of in and out. Anything that happens, let's make sure we work like a team. Okay. When we see something, let's say something, and let's take it from there. Hopefully, we'll get some volume that comes into like Kron and them and starts to help us push them up a little bit. All right. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. All right, guys. So I'll talk to everyone in a little bit, and happy trading.